the audio, the video thing on yours?
Yeah,
We got it.
I've got it. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
I know.
Wait, it's
There's an
Down at the bottom, there's a
Yeah.
start video.
Start video. Here you go.
bottom left.
Yeah. I got you there. You're not on there.
It's usually a little green camera that's down on the left-hand side,
Mine's not green, it's white.
or white, yeah.
Looks like there's nothing down there.
Well, you can't see it until you put your cursor down there, and then it shows up. It won't show up unless your cursor is down there.
Right here.
No, that's not going to do that.
Oh, Dylan just came in. Dylan's here too.
Oh, good.
Yes.
There, but you
Hey, Dylan.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is.
Everything is good.
Yeah, but you're not.
Hi everyone, it's Dylan. Not sure if you can hear me. Sorry for late.
Yes, that's great. You're in.
I hear some music in the background though.
Not me.
Not me. I heard it too.
Oh, never mind. It's gone.
Okay.
That's strange.
Go ahead.
Well, this says my name here.
Yep,
right?
I know, but you're not, no picture.
Have me on there in the box. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And with the black box with the
Mhm.
white.
Your name,
and-
right.
It's not doing anything. I couldn't
We can hear you, Carol.
Yeah.
see.
All right,
So you could, if you need be, you know, you might be stealth for this one.
go ahead. All right, go ahead. All right.
Well, why don't we do this? Carol, why don't I'll start the meeting and, you know, start going through the agenda. And if the, hey, there it is.
Hi, Ed.
Okay, what did you hit?
I hit start video.
Okay.
It was up.
See, your technicians
up in the
come through.
left-hand corner.
Oh, you're probably using
Oh
an
my
iPad.
God.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All righty then. Then let's get started.
Let's say. Okay.
you're good.
Hey, where's my pen?
All righty. Well, let me start by the just talking a little bit about the banner program. You know, it's one of the things that you know, is not only a you know, a wonderful thing around the town, but it's also a significant source of our income. so it has a twofold thing. We've had some cancellations in terms of you know, Needham 4th of July and Needham New Year's. Both of them were substantial sponsors. One's 1,500, the other is 1,000. So we're, you know, looking to obviously make up that difference so we can continue to fund the program and keep it rolling. The things we have been doing, two things. One is that in cooperation with the town, we've got basically several different banners that have gone up either on Chapel Street or in the downtown, not as part of the town-wide one, but in terms of being able to be in support of a lot of the merchants in the downtown. The Dine Shop local banner which is our anchor banner on Chapel Street, was basically did a slight modification by changing some of the logo things on the bottom, and through a contribution of both the town, well, actually 3 contributions from the town, from the chamber, and also in terms of the considerations in terms of the cost from Fast Signs of Needham, that together we were able to actually buy 16 new banners, 8 poles, basically double banner poles for display. And then we've installed them at the best positions we could find for in the downtown, so that cars, when they come in and out of the downtown, are able to be reminded about shopping and dining local. We wanted to do as much as we could to be able to, on a town-wise basis, to be able to, keep in mind that, especially as we're going into the holiday season, it's going to be really important to be able to support both the stores and the restaurants throughout this time. And of course, it's going to be challenging, especially for the restaurants, because, they're going to lose a lot of their outdoor seating simply because of the weather. My understanding also is that the tent on the town common comes down at the end of October. So, and I believe the picnic benches will stay longer, probably up until we get into the snow's actual time. But we're trying to do everything we can to be able to support them. Another thing in that effort is the town had asked if we could help be able to help promote wearing a mask when you're in the businesses downtown. So if you drive down Chapel Street now, you'll see that there are wear a mask reminder banners that are on the poles, along with the Charles River banner, who continued as a sponsor, which was great, because they have some of the things that they've been doing through their events during this time, and so they wanted to be able to have their banner go up and remind people about them. So that was good. They actually were going to have a sponsorship, paid for their sponsorship, that was originally going to happen in March, but because basically we couldn't install anything or do anything during that period of time, we just took the monies that they had used for that and credited them for the one that they did here in September. So that's the status of the banners at the moment. Donation status. One of the things that's been actually very, very wonderful is we had one donor who literally doubled their normal sponsorship to be able to help us out. Went from $500 to $1,000, which was fantastic. We also had 2 donations from our committee members, both of which just don't happen to be here today, but between their donations and a couple of other small donations, we have about another $475 coming into the fund, which will help us in terms of being able to make our fourth quarter expense for the banner and flag program. That in conjunction with the fact that the library has continued to remain as a sponsor, so their contribution also helped us. So we're basically around needing about $500 or $600 to be able to complete our obligations for this, for this last quarter. And, between, what we'll be doing, throughout this time, and some of the things that I'm also working on, that I believe that we'll be able to make up that gap through those efforts. One of the things I did the other day, because we talked about last meeting being able to do some promotional videos to be able to get the word out about some of the new projects that we're looking for funding for, that I did a video standing at the wall, the side of where the rice barn is, for the to promote the new art gallery, and shot that about 2 weeks ago, and then put it out as a promotion And last I checked, it had about 256, interactions with the video, and so that was very positive. Our hope is that by promoting a number of these different things, it will have people as we go into the holiday season, and we'll run them again, and I'll be shooting more videos to be able to do this on the new projects. One of the next one I'm going to be doing is I'm going to connect up with Eddie Bruckner at Thorpe Park, and we'll talk about that project and looking for funding for that one at Thorpe Park. So we'll do several of those that I know I can just put together and bring people together for. But any videos that you guys feel comfortable doing, maybe one of the existing existing projects, and then talking about the art gallery and the new projects that are that are in the works, would be a big help, just in terms of visibility. And it's something you could just post to Facebook, yourself, and be able to just, keep the word and the buzz and the consciousness of donating to the Revitalization Trust Fund sort of in people's minds as we run through this, this holiday season. As far as projects that we have, two things that are actively in process. One is the wall mural that we've been working on for the building that has that abuts the Walgreens parking lot, and those that mural is basically, we have a design for it. It's now with the landlord and his group to be able to look at, and I'm hoping that by sometime maybe next week we'll have some feedback from them after they've gotten a chance to be able to look at it and circulate it and so on, and find out what, if they think it's really a great project, and hopefully would be willing to be able to be at least a partial sponsor for it, that we can look at basically taking it to the next stage, which is to take it to design review, and then and through the process to be able to get it fully approved. Second one is we had originally had a project on the wall that is to the right of Needham Center Fine Wines, and it's basically, they have 3 glass windows and then they have a blanked out section. And we had originally talked about being able to have a project there which would have a sort of a timeline starting back 300 years, and would just basically have a depiction of of notable people who have lived in Needham and then gone out into the world and done great things. And that project was going to be a painting that would then be transformed into a vinyl that would then be applied within that area. Well, that particular project is still something we'd like to be able to do, but the fact is that it's a $25,000 project because of the cost of the designing the artwork and doing that. And although that's terrific, I thought that there might be a way we could actually put something up, much sooner, and still expand on that particular type of theme. And then if in the future we can do the other one, then we will. We can continue on. So here was the concept that I wanted to run by you, that I think could be a really cool thing. That there's I started to when we took the list of the people who were very notable, the list turns out to be about 40 or 50 people long of people who have gone out into the world who lived in Needham and done really great things. And 2 or 3 years ago, we had designed a banner that was called From Needham to the World. And it actually had the names of 5 of very notable people. Suni Williams was on there, John Akers from IBM, We had Clyde Weir, I guess is the proper name to pronounce him. He was Solar Sam, and several others who were on this list. And we were going to produce a banner that would have each banner would have 5 names, and then we'd have 5 banners, and that would give us 25 different people. And the idea was that at the bottom of it would said, to learn more about these people, go to the revitalizationtrustfund.org. And when they would click on that, it would take them to the website, and each person who was on the banner would have would have a little paragraph that would describe some of the cool things that they've done out in the world. And people get to learn more about Needham, and they also get to connect with the Revitalization Trust Fund. And we of course have a donate button connected to the page, so that we would have the opportunity to be able to encourage people to donate to the fund. Well, working along those lines, that I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we could actually do basically a mural that could be easily changed, and that would allow people to be able to learn something about these, notable people on a regular basis. And so the idea came around that if we were able to do this in a way where it could be easily changed and highly affordable, that place at Needham Center Fine Wines might be a really, interesting place to be able to have exactly that. So we looked into some of the technologies and how this might be done. And we put together I'm going to see if I can share the screen in a moment. But hopefully I have control to be able to do that. Yeah, I do. Looks like I do. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you what we came up with for a design, and just to see what you guys think. So I thought it'd be better to, mock together a design so that we could actually understand it, and so you could actually see exactly what it is that we were talking about here. Just in terms of the mechanics, we found that there's a technology that allows you to be able to put in a frame inside that nook window area, and then you can reproduce the mural basically on vinyl, and then when you lock it into the frame, it stretches it taut so it looks like a solid panel, not like a banner. And that will allow us to be able to do that in a really cost-effective way, because once we basically install the framework, that maybe every 6 months this could be changed out with a new person and a new graphic that can be snapped right back into the same existing frame. And this could be a program that would run ongoing. And of course, I've talked to Needham Center Fine Wines, Chris, about the concept. I actually met him yesterday at the town common, and he and Jake, the manager there, are actually both really excited about it. In fact, he was saying, well, maybe we can do, something additional in one of our windows to be able to help, tie into this also. So let's see if I can share the screen and show you. Let's see. So I can't. So, and Sandy, I think, is going to be off to the sidelines. So unfortunately, I can't do that. But what I can do is I can actually send you an email with these images in it. But it'll have an image of the banner, and it will also have an image of the mock-up of what it would look like, right in the spot that it's in, and a mock-up of what the entire design looked like. And in this particular one, what we did is, because we had all the resources to be able to put it together, one of the very notable people in town is Bob Larson. And some of you might know that he's the gentleman who designed 30 covers for the Needham phone book, which has, of course, now been retired. But he also has done the drawings that were connected with the Old Ironsides when that was here in town. He's also a vet, and he's also been a cartoonist for the Needham Times for decades, and produced his own cartoon book, and has done a variety of other things all throughout not only the town but in other places, including if you go to Memorial Field and you see the stone that's there for the memorial to people who have been from Needham who have passed away in wars, that he did the Minuteman relief that's actually really beautifully carved into that stone. So we thought this would be a great example of what this project could be about and some of the interesting things that could be done with it. And that's sort of the scoop with that. I'm sorry I can't share it with you right at the moment, but hopefully you'll be able to see it very shortly, and then you can give feedback on it and tell me what you think. One of the things that we wanted to talk about also, that's sort of the summary of the things that have been going on. I know that I talked about being able to create an appeals sample email. And this is the first thing I really wanted to sort of talk about because, I wanted to get your input on what the approach to write this in. Because I sat down and wrote a couple of versions of it. And I was like, I don't know whether this is the right approach towards this. And I'm wondering, what do you think would be the most effective thing to have in this appeal letter at this time, during COVID, going into the holidays? What are like the key things that you think would most resonate with the people that we would send it out to, among our lists and other places?
I think probably testimonials about how the things that we have done to foster our mission, which is to create a sense of community through placemaking, banners, benches, and the like, have had a direct impact and benefit to the businesses in our community, particularly because businesses and restaurants have been so affected and people in our community are so willing to support that. So to the extent that we could have some business owners, restaurant owners, etc., talk about how these things have added to a sense of community and helped drive business to their particular establishments, I think would really resonate with people and be more inclined to then drive traffic to us. People have been very supportive and wanting to support anything that ultimately has the end goal of supporting businesses. So if we could get people to talk about how, just like what Mary Ruth was talking about, that the vibrancy in the common has been such a driver of people thinking, hey, I should grab, next time I have a free afternoon, I should grab a sandwich and go sit in the common, and then tie it back to Circle of Hope or the benches or any of the, the things that we're doing, I think would be good. So hearing from people in the business community about how they view our work as helping their work, I think would be really helpful.
Yeah, I like that. In fact, one of the things that occurred to me while you were talking was that we could not only include those, go around and get those testimonials, but also maybe shoot a little video with the person and say, hey, can you just, tell us how you feel like, being able to have the sculptures and the banners and all those types of things, helps encourage people to be able to, shop and be in downtown Needham, and just let them, just talk. So I think that's a neat idea. What do other people think? Everyone's muted, so.
I think it's a great idea. I think that people need other people to encourage them, people that aren't us. Every time, like if I share your video and all that, all the time, I always say, and I'm a member of the committee because I want people to know why I'm sharing it, but I do think it would be helpful to do that. And I think the banners are huge. I really do, in just giving the center a feeling of being alive. That having someone talk about the banners and someone else talk about the I know we didn't do picnic tables, but the benches and picnic tables, and how welcoming the center of town is. I think that would be a big deal.
Great. Any other thoughts on that from you, Dylan?
No, I like the idea of the videos, but I was kind of thinking about this. I mean, this is the only comment I have is, I guess, is taking a couple of steps back from here. This may be a little bit off topic, but I noticed that when I talk to people about my involvement with the committee, it's always the name of the committee is kind of a mouthful. And it's often hard for people to understand exactly what it is we do and like who we are based on, the long name of our committee. Has there ever been first of all, I guess, is there a way that you guys use to sort of shorten it a little bit to make it more palatable? Or is there a way for the committee to maybe be a little bit clearer about its purpose and its name, I guess? Or
Well, obviously the long name of it is the Needham Community Revitalization Trust Fund.
right.
But we basically have just called it the Revitalization Trust Fund.
Right.
And that seems to work for people. And,
Sure.
So that, and, the word revitalization is obviously, indicative of what we, what we do. So does that work better for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's as I said, it might be a little bit off topic for this discussion, but that's sort of what came to mind. I do like the idea of the videos, and I do agree with the comment that was made about having the message carried out by others. That does seem to make sense.
So, any other ideas in terms of things that we could do, or things we would add into? We talked about doing an email. Obviously, the two parts to being able to get that to happen is, one is going out and getting the testimonials. So that's
right.
the first. And then, the second is, if we shoot the videos, those can be, additional things that we can add in. Not only we could potentially even link to them, but of course we could post them on Facebook, and circulate them that way also, throughout the holiday season.
Is there a way? I was thinking more about more of an event-driven way of getting the message out. The one thing that came to mind is the farmers market in Needham in the town square. I don't know if there's a way for us to either have some kind of a poster or something, but even more so, if we were actually able to have an actual our own little tent there, maybe for one of the markets, and actually have a screen playing these videos, for example. I mean, what better way to promote the mission of the committee than the place where most of its efforts are tangible, right? That's something, I don't know. I mean, I'm just sort of trying to think outside the box here.
Well, I can find out from Jeff. I know that they have a schedule of people who are, sort of the adjunct booths to it. And so I can find out about whether there's any availability for that kind of thing.
Right.
And then, it would be a matter of us being able to, to have maybe a rotation of people who could be there over the course of the Sunday to be able to do it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, and we could probably make up a little handout that would allow people to have some kind of takeaway that would direct them to needhamma.gov, /NCRTF.
Right.
And
Yeah. I mean, anything I think that can raise awareness of, what if I donate, what is my donation going to lead to? It's always great to just be able to point directly to concrete projects. So obviously we're right in the town square where some of those concrete projects are visible. And then, yeah, it gives us kind of a way to, as you said, direct people to the website to find out more and to donate, right?
well, I will call Jeff and find out what the possibility is for that too.
Okay.
Good. It's a good idea.
Oh, I think that's a great idea while we have the farmers market here till usually to Thanksgiving. So we have, even if they give us even a couple of the Sundays, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and it's certainly, they're they're a big fan of us. So because we oftentimes put up their they pay for one period of time, and depending on whether we have somebody else as another sponsor to fill in that spot, they often get additional time to be able to have their banner up longer. So that's been something that we've been able to help them and support them in during the time that they're open. So that's good. What other types of things, as far as writing the email, we can collect these testimonials, and probably we'd want to try to get some of them in writing, but that's more difficult to be able to get people to do because they have to sit down to compose them. But we can certainly try to do that. Any other thoughts about elements that we would have inside the email that might, be something that we could easily distribute?
Well, truly, I mean, if you ask someone, do a testimonial, 9 times out of 10, they're going to ask you what you want them to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could be very helpful there. Not that I've ever done it, but
No.
We could be helpful just as long as we don't have everybody saying the same thing.
Exactly. You just got to make sure they don't all say the same thing.
Right.
I think that, I also think that we want everything to be brief, very brief.
Right.
Because no one spends a lot of time reading things
No, that's right.
or anyplace else. They want a picture and a couple of words.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Other things that we might be able to do to be able to encourage, donations from individuals. In other words, people we may know around town that we might not have gone up and just literally asked if they would, help out the fund, and you tell them a little bit about it and say, hey, would you be able to actually, contribute to be able to help support the banners and the flags and these really new, cool projects that we have coming up. I mean, obviously you could do it in your own way, but I'm just saying, are there individuals you think that have been, really connected with the town, really, love the town, their, family has grown up here, and it's meant a lot to be here in Needham, and, approach them in terms of just being able to say, hey, I'm a member of the committee, and we've got these really great projects that are waiting for funding, as well as keeping alive the other projects we have, because we take care of the ones that we sponsor. Would you be willing to help? And if you would, you can give them the link to the website and then go right to needhamma.gov/NCRTF and donate.
We do have that list, or I have it, I'm pretty sure, of part of it, of people who have been regular donators to contact.
Yes, and in fact, we'll take the list that you have and the list that I have and combine them. And we can do a mailing to them because I have a number of emails, and we can also, just if we know the people personally, could potentially reach out to contact them.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Well, I'll get back together with Carol afterwards, and then we'll sort of consolidate those ideas and put them together as as an email that we'll mail out back to you guys, so we can talk about the different types of things that we can we can approach. I can also find out about the Needham Farmers Market and that booth availability, and see what the possibilities are there.
Paul, one of the things is that when I get a solicitation from any of the Needham groups, it often will have, it's just a brief letter saying, would like you to donate some money. And then the person, usually someone from that group, I would know them, and they would just write a brief note like, oh, we were so happy to get your donation in the past. I think maybe doing one form letter and then having us divide the group and just write a little note on it, even if you don't know the person that well, but we know they've donated in the past. We could do that. And if we look at the group, everybody knows something. I mean, if you look at all the people that have donated, you might know, well, that's a past selectman, or that's a person that was on the school committee, or that's someone that taught in the schools, or, so we might be able to sort of, it's kind of nice to put something a little bit personal in a little handwritten, very brief note at the bottom, or just, like if it's people I know, sometimes they just say, well, I'm working on this, and if you're interested, love to have you make a contribution. And that's, that's enough.
And on the back end, also having handwritten thank you notes, particularly where it's donations beyond our committee members, I think actually goes a long way. It's something that I always note in terms of people really spending the time to thank me and also explain where my money's going to. That just is sort of good free PR for us in terms of then spreading the word beyond for future solicitations and donations.
I think it's great. So, so we'll work on being able to put together a more form letter that we can send out, and then you guys can then, personalize it with your own little notes, and then distribute it to the people that that you think might be interested in being able to donate to the fund. Does that sound like a good plan?
I was talking more about people that already have donated, so that instead of trying but also have the form letter to add people that that you think might be interested. But I think we should hit our donors because they're the most likely people to donate again. I mean, if you remember, sometimes when we did things on the common, somebody would come and say, I never heard of you. I just think this is the best group, and they'd write a check. I love the things you do. So I really do think that we have to reach out to people that have already donated, but then send them out to, someone commented on your video that I know, I mean, she would be a perfect person to add to our, whether she has I don't know if she's donated, but if she hasn't, she seemed to be very impressed by your video.
Great, great. All right, well, I'll, between, as I said, between Carol and I will pull together the list that we have of existing donors. What I can do is, let's see, I can put together, I can start to get an initial list together. And let's see, I guess we could send the list and the form letter. We have to have a way of being able to divide this up. And basically, what we want to do is have people look at the list, see if they know any of the people who are already on the list, and then say, okay, I'll write the letter to these people.
Mhm.
So if I put the list together, then I can send it out to everyone. You can basically make a notation or say copy and paste the names of the people that you would send your additional note out to with the form letter. And then, we'll work with the other ones that are on it in some way to be able to send something up to them.
The other ones we just divide up and you just write a brief note saying,
Yeah.
hope you can participate. You don't really have to know them. I mean, but
Yeah.
it would be a good idea. I know they do that for the Brookline Education Foundation. Everyone on the group has to send out X number of, but they don't write the letter. They don't, they put a note on it and they sign it. And I can tell you that the people I know on it don't know half the people they're sending it to, but they do get the donations.
Yeah, Paul, you could just circulate a Google Docs so that we can all have editing capability and give us a week to sign up for people that we might know, and then just divvy the balance up among the rest of us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll do it. Excellent. And one of the things that Carol wanted to be able to also bring up was the idea of legacy projects. That Kate, you had some ideas along that line, and Carol also, I think. In other words, as she was describing it to me, I mean, it's something that we obviously know would be a great thing, would be to have people who would do either bequests or other, estate related things. But what other ideas do you guys have in terms of and what methods do we reach people for that kind of thing?
Well, hadn't we compiled the list? I mean, there were two things that we had talked about. We had talked about thinking about businesses for whom we had not previously sought donations. So Stacy's Juice Bar and Stacy Madison's philanthropy and sort of ties to the community. And so we sort of thought about doing a deep dive into existing businesses for whom we had not previously solicited donations, who had not previously donated. I think that's a hard thing to do in a COVID world.
Yeah.
Right now. And then on top of that, I mean, I think both of these are sort of hard to do post-COVID. And then on top of that, we had also thought, and I think we had actually put together a list, Carol, remind me if I'm wrong about this, about or maybe it was Mary Ruth and I did it. I can't remember, but it was like the nonprofits within the community, or not even nonprofits, but community organizations that we thought could use the banners as opportunities to advertise their good work. And we had talked about the Women's Club, and we had talked about Needham Community Council and Circle of Hope and these various other organizations that could get their word out. I was even thinking about, remember I'm forgetting the name, of course, but the art gallery over, I'm forgetting the name of but I think this
Eden Square Gallery?
No. The artists, the studio,
Gorse Mills.
Gorse Mills, right.
Yep.
And so maybe they want, my son is taking outdoor art classes over there, and his teacher mentioned, like, nobody knows about us. Well, maybe the artists want to collectively pool some resources and put together a Gorse Mills banner that could be up. banner display that they'd like to sponsor so that they can drive traffic to their collective. But we had talked about doing those two angles, sort of like business angles and then sort of organization nonprofits. I think, you know, people are strapped for cash right now and resources, financial resources. So I think it's going to be a difficult ask of either group. But that was one thing that we had talked about in terms of additional pools.
Yeah, I think one of the
I
things
think,
we keep in mind too is that businesses absolutely are hurting because of all of this type of thing.
yeah,
As individuals, especially people who invested in the stock market, that at least so far, that the stock market has still been okay. And so, you know, the fortunate part has been is, you know, people who are working remotely are still working remotely. And people who weren't working remotely but could still are. So, and there's a high percentage of the population that lives in Needham that is the case. So, you know, I think that donations are certainly possible through, you know, from the community itself. And I know that just by the, you know, the donations and philanthropy that have been going on in terms of being able to help, you know, the chamber and to be able to help, you know, some of the businesses that, you know, people are willing to contribute to be able to, you know, retain the quality of the experience of the town.
Quick thought here. I mean, it's not like there's that many of them, but there are a handful of business types or categories that have thrived during COVID. And it's not like there's that many of them in Needham, unfortunately, but I don't know if you've ever heard of Purple Carrot, but they're a plant-based meal delivery service. Pretty great startup. They're based in Needham. They're right near the Heights commuter rail station, and you know, obviously they do home delivery, meal delivery services. So that's obviously something that's done quite well. It might be worth, you know, going to them and kind of appealing to their, you know, appealing to them in terms of getting back to Needham. Another business that's I've learned that's done quite well is fast food. Because even though restaurants have suffered a lot, anything that has a drive-through has been, or that delivers, you know, meals, has been doing very well. So that's always a really tough one. But I don't know if we can get the information on who the franchise owners are of some of the fast food, you know, businesses in town. But you know, I'm thinking of Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Domino's, Bertucci's. Like these guys have actually done quite well during COVID. So it's a long shot, I guess, but I think, yeah, back to the point that was raised earlier, it's just generally really tough to be asking anyone for money right now, at least businesses.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, banner companies have actually done quite well too. So,
um, when
Carol?
Kate, you know, when Kate was talking about what we discussed earlier times about what we just talked before this, it was the Needham Community Council list that is the nonprofits on it. So, and they usually date it by the 1st of November or so. I don't know what their plan is now, but
Well, I would say that even if we were using you know, the older list, it's just 1 year old, right?
that's right.
That we're probably not going to be too far off.
Right.
So I would say that we wouldn't wait for you know, for the new one to come out. We could just use the list that exists, and you know, if there's some that if there's one or two there that I would, you know, that might not be around, I don't.
Right.
That's no big deal.
Exactly.
But it is a way to be able to encourage people to participate in the Chapel Street showcase. And
Yeah.
you know, you know, we basically have the opportunity on Chapel Street to be able to have 24 displays, which would be $2,400. So that's, that would be a great, that basically covers 1/4. If we had that fully booked, it would cover 1/4 of our banner program, expense.
Mm.
So, and that's not including, the sponsors who are actually have banners up around town and other donations that we have gotten. We have gotten to the past. We'll kill this.
Put on your dinner
Um,
pants. It's time to eat.
Did you hear that? All right, Google. It'll stop now. So I have my dinner pants on, so I'm ready to. But it's a great way to be able to know that we've reached our time limit. So that's great. So I think we've got a bunch of things to do, and then once we'll consolidate this, and then distribute the information back to you, and with the lists and so on, and basically give you a summary of of what we talked about today, and then we'll put it into action, and you can take the list. We'll divide it up with the form letter, and what I'll do first is head out tomorrow and maybe Saturday and see if I can just get a few testimonials so that we can include those in the letter itself, just to get it kicked off. And maybe even shoot a couple of videos. So we'll see.
Okay.
And if any of you know some of the the business owners or people who work in the different stores around town, and you can do ask them if they would give you a testimonial about the value of the things that we've done. Obviously that would be great, because the more of us collecting these things, the more we can be able to use them in a whole variety of different ways. So and when you get them, if you if you can just send them, you can send them directly to me if you want to, at pgmarketplace@gmail.com. And any other comments and things like that you have, send them along, and we'll keep consolidating them and using them in any way we can. Anyone else have any other thoughts before we try to set the meeting for next month? Okay, well, based on everyone being on mute, I would say that's great, and we will we'll connect up, get the other information out to you, and get this thing rolling so we can all work together to bring in some more donations and get people rallying around the projects that we have in the works. Just as a last question, are there any feedback or thoughts, just very quickly, on the two projects that I talked about at the beginning? And one, the larger wall mural, and the other one, the smaller one about From Needham to the World. Dylan?
No questions for me.
I mean, do you think it's a good idea, or does it sound exciting or interesting, or?
Sorry, I was unmuted. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know why, but my Zoom is acting up. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yep, I can still hear you. Okay. And Kate or Mary Ruth, any other final comments?
Sounds good to me.
Go ahead.
All righty then. Well, thank you very much. We're going to keep it on time here, and we'll be back in touch during next week with a bunch of
The next
information.
Fall
Yes.
meeting in October.
Yes. So October meeting. What we would normally look at
The third
is
Usually around the third.
The third
Week.
Thursday would be, well, let's see. Either the 15th or the 22nd.
Okay. I'm fine with either.
Anyone else? Is either one of those a good
No
date?
preference for me.
Both work for me.
Mary Ruth? Can you hear me?
Either.
Okay, all right. So Carol,
All right.
we'll take one more swing of it. We'll ask Ashley and Marcus, and we'll send out a
Yeah.
circulation as to which one is better, and then we'll get that nailed down during next week also.
Paul, it's Sandy. Can you vote to adjourn when you go?
Yes,
Please,
and
thank
that's as our final piece. Now that we have our meeting for in progress anyway for next month. I now want to all to adjourn the meeting and vote. Actually, I got to get this down, you know? So I would like to vote to be able to adjourn the meeting at this time. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Okay.
I,
Thank you all.
Night.
Thanks so much.
Aye.